All right. Hey, everybody. It's Charlotte Pottiger here in Lawrenceville, New Jersey. And today is February 19th. This is a call for stylists in their jumpstarts. And everyone who is invited to this call has a jumpstart that's ending in the month of March. So we are all getting together and chatting about how to really maximize the jumpstart and get that $800 shopping spree plus more on top of that, but just to really unlock that big $800 shopping spree. So I'm recording the call now. So whether you're on here live, feel free to ask questions. For those of you who couldn't join us, I'm glad you'll be able to watch this recording and check it out. Then the other thing that I'm going to do as a complement to this call to keep us connected moving forward is create a group chat on an app called Marco Polo. If you haven't used Marco Polo, it's really fun. It's basically a video walkie-talkie. So you can see people connect face-to-face, ask questions, and learn from one another. Definitely what I find is, any new stylist, if there's a question that you have, that's probably a question that someone else has too, and then it's really good to just share ideas with people at the beginning. So it'll be a really nice way to connect and to be able to get questions answered and brainstorm together. So stay tuned for more on that. Okay, so whenever we join Stella and Dot, I'm sure you've talked about it with your sponsor. For Catherine and Jess, who are both on the call, that's me. So I know I've talked to you about it, and I know what your whys are. And it's a really wonderful thing as you get to know more and more stylists to see really what variety there is. Some people sign up because they love the jewelry and they want to get a bunch of it for free. Some people really want a great way to earn income. Some people really want a great way to get out of the house and have some guilt-free girl time. And the list just goes on and on. So there's really a variety there. And it's also something that's going to evolve over time. So even if you're on this call today and you've already been a stylist for a month or 2 weeks, now that you've dived into this, I'm not really sure what the right word is there, but you've delved into this a little bit further, and your why might already be starting to evolve. So that's totally normal. And what I find too is that no matter what your why is and what your motivation, often bringing stylists along with you for the ride is going to be the answer to help you get there, to help you achieve it. So of course, in your jumpstart, that's going to be the key to unlocking that $800 shopping spree and moving forward. Whether you're looking to make friends and have fun with this, you're going to have so much more fun bringing people along with you for the ride. Whether you're hoping to earn a certain amount each month, that's going to help you leverage your business and work more efficiently so that you can achieve that. And it's just honestly part of our job as a stylist, because the mission of Stella and Dot is to give every woman the means to style her life. So the fact of the matter is, if you're not talking about it and offering it and letting people know it's something that they can do also, then we're just not doing our job. And I think that when you shift your mindset to that type of perspective, that it's just part of what you do and part of what you offer, it takes away the question of if you're going to do it or not, and just makes things move so seamlessly. So one thing that you can think about with your business is that everyone's going to always fall into 4 different buckets. They're either going to be a potential stylist, a potential hostess, a potential customer, or a potential connector, who maybe they're not interested but could connect you to someone else who might be interested in one of those 3 other options. And people might shift from bucket to bucket over time. I've had loads of customers turned hostesses, turned stylists, and that definitely happens too. So pausing on that for a moment and just kind of refocusing in on your jumpstart and what all of those rewards are that you have available at your fingertips. It's that first 60 days that you're a stylist. If you want to kind of check in with where you are in your jumpstart, there is a whole report in your stylist lounge that's called your Jumpstart report. So you can go to that. You can see how many days you have left in your Jumpstart. You can see how many trunk shows you've booked and how much you've sold so far and how much free product that you've earned. So you're going to earn free product based on once you sell your first $1,000. Of course, you want to do that in your first 30 days, but really your first like 10 to 12 days to just knock that out and start earning your Jumpstart credits. Then that way you're also going to scoop up your quick start bonus. And I think for everyone who's in this group, you're also going to be getting that rebate that was part of the January sign-up special. So that is a no-brainer. Get that money back. That's not something that's available all the time. I've been a stylist for 4.5 years, and this is only the second time I've ever seen us have a rebate offer. So it's so great. And I know, and Catherine's already done that. So she has just checked that off the list. Love it. But really throughout the rest of that 60 days, you're going to want to do at least 6 trunk shows in addition to your own. Of course, you can do more, but really that 6 is going to set you up for long-term success. It's really going to help you maximize the rewards and go for that either that level 2 or level 3 of your Jumpstart, where you're going to be earning a higher percentage of credit based on your sales. So whatever you sell in that first 60 days, you get a percentage of that as product credit. That's in addition to the income that you're already earning from your commissions. By doing the 6 trunk shows, you're also going to be setting yourself up to earn a power seller bonus on your commission. So any month that you sell $2,500 or more, you earn an additional 5% commission. And I say, you know, I'm never about going for like the minimum. So I say it's always great to aim for $3,000 in sales as your goal for the month. Then that gives you a nice big cushion. You're not like scraping for that last order to get you to $2,500 on the very last day of the month. And you're just sitting pretty, feeling good. And what that does is it's going to earn you $900 just from your personal sales commission in a month. So think about what you would do with that. What would that income do for your family, and what would that look like? That's not monopoly money. That is real, you know, those are real dollar bills. And that's, of course, something that you have access to beyond your Jumpstart. So during your Jumpstart, of course, you're earning that percentage of your sales in product credit too. How are you going to do that? It's by building that huge who do you know list. So thinking through your social circles, who you know, and making a list of those circles and then adding the people into it. I know that Jess and Catherine, you both already know this, but I'm just kind of covering it for anyone who is watching the playback and hasn't heard that yet. So the biggest thing that's super important with creating that big list, and I would really say, again, stretch yourself to go for adding 100 names to it. It sounds like a lot, but once you get the ball rolling, once you start brainstorming, you know, you might not sit down and put 100 people on your list all in one sitting, but maybe you can come up with a list of 40 or 50, and then over the week, people will keep popping into your mind, or you'll bump into somebody that you haven't seen in a while, and you can add those names to the list. And that's something that you're going to be adding to all the time, whether it's new people that you're meeting at trunk shows or just in your regular social life, or people that you're reconnecting with. I know I always love wedding season over the summertime, or whenever I go to a wedding, because I always see like old friends that I haven't connected with in a while, and often have never talked to them about my Stella and Dot business because I just haven't thought of them. And often it comes up right then and there in that social setting because, you know, people talk about what they do with their lives and how things are going and all of that. And often they've seen my posts on social media and this and that. And so it just comes up really naturally in the conversation. So the most important thing to do with this list is just not filter people. So don't decide for them, you know, whether you think they're going to be interested in Stella and Dot in any capacity or not. Just add them to the list. That is one of the biggest mistakes that I made when I first got started as a stylist. Is I made my who do you know list, but if I'm really being honest, it was more like my who do you know list of people that I think are going to be interested in booking trunk shows with me. I really didn't even have sponsoring on my radar that much, and I definitely didn't include people on my list that I thought were probably going to say no. But what I found is that a lot of those people who I thought were like these shoe-in hostesses, like, oh my gosh, she's going to be obsessed with all the jewelry, she's totally going to win a book. it really threw me off when they said no, whether that was because, it wasn't a good time for them, or maybe they weren't as interested as I thought that they would be. I kind of was like, oh darn, I don't know what to do next. And it was when I really just went back to the drawing board and included people that I thought were gonna, that I was like, I think she's probably gonna say no, but you know what? The training says to put them on my list, so I'm just gonna do it. And then I reached out to them, and then I'm like, oh, this totally works. So it's just a good reminder of not trying to reinvent the wheel. This is really a system that works, that's duplicatable, that has been honed and fine-tuned over time and created because it really does work. And so some of the people that I really thought were going to say no ended up saying yes. So get into those different social circles and just start booking the dates in your Jumpstart. It's going to help you build your network so that when you go to do those trunk shows, you're going to launch as fast as possible, knock that out, and use that the power of 4 plan, where you're really booking your first 4 trunk shows in 4 different social circles. And then you're going to work with the hostess and coach her to aim for 10 guests in attendance by reaching out and inviting about 40 people that she knows, using the same strategy. So helping her think through the different social circles that she has. Of course, because all of these people are going to be from your own social network already. So there's going to be some overlap, right? They're going to invite people probably that you know too, whether you know them from work, or they're in your close group of friends, or they're, one of your kids' schoolmates' moms that you're booking with. There's going to be some overlap, but how can you coach her and work with her to build a guest list that includes people that you don't know, so that you can then build your network and book shows with them, and so on and so forth, so that the circles will grow. So once you've got that big, huge list, you're gonna be booking out from there. But go ahead and just star or highlight or underline, whatever markings that you want to use. 20 to 30 of those 100 names as people that you would love to do this with. Again, not filtering. So not, take aside those judgments and just think of people who might like this. And if you're trying to think through this, is, I think when you're a new stylist, I know I struggled with this of just how to know who is a potential stylist. So I definitely got stuck in my own head of thinking about, trying to kind of find people who are like me, who are maybe looking at it from the same angle that I would be. And that's gonna, now I'm kind of full circle back to my comments at the beginning of this chat about how people's whys can be so different in this business. So whether it's just because they like the jewelry, they're looking for fun, they're looking for extra income, they might be looking for something to do to get out of the house. My thought is, if you think it would be fun to do this with them, and there's a reason why, you can authentically share with them why you think that they might love it too, then you should just always put it out there. And sometimes even if you don't know why they might like it, but you just kind of get this sense and you might want to share it with them, you can go with the strategy of sharing, here's why I love it, here's what it's done for me already, even though I've only been doing this for about a month. I have no idea if you'd be interested in this or not, but I would love to do this together. Take a look at this video. I'll check in later this week and see what you think. So I know that the call with Southern Charms is going to go through a little bit more of those tactical tips of how to reach out and follow up and all of that. But just to give you some food for thought on how to share with someone who maybe you can't think of an exact reason, or you're not sure why or if they might like it, but you would like to share it with them. Okay, so once you've got that pool of people, I'll pause there and just ask, from all the comments thus far, any questions or comments or things that you would like to add?
I don't think so.
Okay, awesome.
Nope.
Just making sure. Cool. So now that you've just sort of earmarked those first people, this is really going to be your key to that $800 shopping spree. So what's going to get you there is sponsoring a new stylist during your Jumpstart period. And then, okay, this is where it gets a little bit tricky and confusing. but it's simple. It's not as confusing as it sounds. So sponsoring a new stylist within your Jumpstart and then promoting to associate stylist by the end of the month in which your Jumpstart ends. So to keep it simple, for everybody who's invited to this call, that is March. So no matter whether your Jumpstart ends March 7th or if it ends March 30th, everyone who is invited to this group has until March 31st to promote to associate stylist, and you would be eligible for that product credit bonus, and you would be considered to have promoted during your Jumpstart. The reason why that is because your Jumpstart's always just 60 days from when you start, but any promotion within Stella and Dot is going to be in a month, in a given month. So that's where those two things kind of wedge together like that. And the way that you're going to get the two pieces of the product credit are that you're going to get $300 product credit for sponsoring a stylist and helping her hit her Jumpstart. So in reality, you could sponsor more than just one person. You can bring two buddies along and get $600. And then you get the $500 for promoting. Does that make sense? Is everyone tracking with me?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. So anyone who's watching the recording, if you still feel confused, we can go over it. But if you're a visual person, in your new stylist guide, there is the page that breaks down the Jumpstart rewards, and it's on there too. It does explain it there. So everyone in this group has until the end of March to promote. But what does that mean? Like, what do you need to do to achieve it? So you have to have a minimum of $750 in personal sales, and then $2,000 combined between you and whoever you sponsor. So your personal sales count towards that $2,000. And your team member must have a minimum of $500. Okay, but again, I don't like to go for minimums because that's stressful to me. You don't want to just be scraping for the minimum at the last second, right? So jumping back to that idea of really setting 3,000 as kind of your personal bar, where you're going to scoop up that power seller bonus, and you're going to have you're just going to knock out that entire team sales requirement in one fell swoop. And then also your team member, they're not going to want to go for only $500 in that month because they're already going to be going for their quick start and their Jumpstart and all of that. So it's probably going to be, really easy to just swipe all of those requirements out and wipe it out. And it's really as simple as you and a buddy doing 3 to 4 trunk shows between the two of you. So that's really as easy as it can be. And then that's really going to also be just setting you up and taking you towards the steps to get to the next level in the business of star stylist. So just to highlight that for a moment, that's somebody who has a small team, who's still doing this completely part-time. Most star stylists do have a full-time job as well. Most also have kids. Everyone's lives look completely different. But that is really kind of the sweet spot in the company where you're going to be maximizing your earnings in terms of the coaching commissions. And it's just it's a level that we do a lot of recognition around at Hoopla, and it's really exciting. And there's a ton of just really lucrative bonuses that you can get at that level too. So that is something that we can talk about more in the future, but just kind of wanted to mention it and put it on your radar so that you knew what that was. So that is basically how to get that $800 shopping spree, how to promote to associate stylist. And we're going to hop off of here in just a moment and hop onto the other call that's going to be more of the basics of sponsoring. But before we do that, I wanted to talk about overcoming objections a little bit, because what is completely normal, and it's actually pretty hilarious that the two of you are both on this call, because both of you had a ton of questions before you joined, and both of you were very almost apologetic about it. I'm sorry, I still have more questions. And I said to both of you, no, this is totally normal, right? I said, if you didn't have any questions and you were like, yeah, let me just do it, I would really think that was more weird. And I'm sure who is listening to the recording of this had the same thing happen. You know, just because you have questions or concerns, and we always call it overcoming objections. I don't really even like to call it that. I just like to call it like, you know, working through questions and things like that. And when I am talking to someone about the opportunity and answering her questions and working through her concerns that are completely normal, I'm looking at it as from a perspective of not like, well, I'm going to get this girl, but like, let me help her decide if this is really a good move for her. And sometimes those discussions end in, no, it's actually not. And that's okay. I always really want someone to join the business and join our team feeling excited and confident and ready to go for it versus feeling like maybe it really wasn't the best choice, or, you know, just regretting it or something like that. So, so what are you going to do when the friend who you thought was going to be absolutely perfect isn't interested? Does anyone want to like throw an idea out there?
I mean, I would just have really open communication. It depends. I mean, most of the friends I have talked to about it already, obviously, are things you've already talked about where they have really busy lives and don't see a lot of room for this in their lives. So I think just seeing my experience through it helps them, and talking to them about that. Or also just revisiting the whole thing with them later too, and like you said, answering any questions to help them see if this is the right thing for them or not.
Totally. Yeah, I absolutely love that. Like, I love what you said of maybe coming back to them later. Like, maybe it's not the right time, or maybe they kind of want to like you're being the brave pioneer that's out there trying something new, and they might kind of want to like see how it goes for you a little bit. So one thing that I would recommend too is to book a show with them. I think that's a great way for them to like test the waters and kind of see what it's like from a very non-committal perspective, and just like, oh my gosh, let's get a free shopping spree for you instead. But the other thing too is, you know, I say it as, what will you do when the friend that you thought will be perfect says no? Because it's probably going to happen. And I will tell you too, like, I have two like very close girlfriends from college that were like number 1 and 2 people that I thought would be the most amazing stylists when I first joined. And guess what? Neither of them are stylists still. But and what I wish that I wouldn't do, that I eventually figured out, but what I wish I wouldn't have done that I did right away, is I kind of like asked them both and just stopped offering to people. Because like they didn't say yes, and I was like, I don't know who else to ask, and you know, maybe I shouldn't do this right now, and I kind of like got scared. And what I wish that I would have done is just keep going and just asking other people, which I did eventually, but later on. And I did look back on it now, and I was like, oh, if I would have just kept offering to other people, I could have grown my team so much faster than I did. So that's going to happen. That's normal. And that's basically all I wanted to mention about that. Like, it's all about that, building that resilience. Just keep going, because it's all a numbers game. So you're probably going to have to talk to 10 to 20 people to sponsor one person. You might also book 1 or 2 trunk shows from those conversations. But you never know. You might sponsor 1 or 2, or maybe you'll end up having a conversation with somebody that maybe they won't join right now, but could join down the road. So just like what you were saying, you're planting those seeds and letting people know that it's an option. Otherwise, how do they know? Like, I sometimes like, people will ask you questions at trunk shows, and it's a reminder that other people just don't know how this works, because like people will be like, oh, so like, how did you get this gig? And I'm like, I signed up, you can do it too. And like, they just have no idea. They don't know how it works. And then also from that same note, like what I said before too, start with the sponsoring offer first, and then offer a trunk show. So you're offering whatever the opportunity for someone to join as a stylist, it's always going to be the highest value for both them and for you in building your business, right? Because you're either, if you just start with hosting, it's hard to go up to sponsoring from there if they say no. Like if they say no to hosting, why would they want to be a stylist? It doesn't make any sense. But if you start with offering maybe a stylist, and then if that's not for them or not right now, then to offer to host, it's such a lower level of commitment and still really fun for them to have a great girls' night and get a shopping spree. So they're much more likely to say yes. And if they say no to both, then you can offer to help style them and get them, a great new shopping spree. Or you can invite them to your show if you haven't done that yet, which I know that both of you two already have. All right, so we have 1 minute before we hop on over to the other call that's going to be all about sponsoring. Before we go for questions, we can hop on that call a few minutes late. I do want to also let you know that for both of you, for anybody who's on this call, I am here as a resource for questions that come up when you're having these first sponsoring conversations. It can be a little bit of like a learned art of how to answer people's questions or go over their objections in a way that's really effective and also that doesn't really like scare them away. So I think we'll probably cover a little bit of that on the next call, but I think that'll be a great place to go for our Marco Polo group. Like if you're like, SOS, I'm having this conversation, we're texting back and forth, I don't know what to say, like do not hesitate to ask. And then the other thing that I want to be able to offer to you also as a resource is a three-way call. So we can hop on either a Zoom call like this or just regular phone call, three-way conversation. If you're starting to get to the point where somebody's really considering it, they're, having different questions and you're like just not really sure how to seal the deal with them, let's jump on a call and to just say, hey, I'm still really new. I would love to jump on a call with my upline leader. She's been doing this for a couple of years and would be a great perspective. Would you be open to that? And would you be open to that is a really key phrase because it's just a yes or no question. They're not like really committing to anything, but it's also very indicative of their level of interest. I mean, if they're not open to jumping on a three-way call, like that kind of gives you your answer. They probably just aren't really that interested. And sometimes people don't know how to say no nicely. So that is also something that's available to you. We will definitely continue this conversation and tips as different questions come up. Any like last minute, any burning questions before we hop on to the other call?
I have one, and I don't know how clear my question will be or how quickly you can answer it either, but so like obviously I've traveled a lot. Well, not traveled, I've moved a lot because of Brett's job, but so a lot of my connections are also out of state, and so even people I've already started talking to are all over. They're in Georgia, they're in Tennessee, they're in Nevada, they're in California, they're all over the place. So when I talk, and most of those I've actually talked to about the sponsoring them, but the next move obviously would be to book a trunk show. Would you recommend doing, because I know the online experience is like so different, but would you just recommend doing that if I can't necessarily go to them as soon as I'd like to?
Yeah, I think, let me think about that a little bit more. I mean, I think at the end of the day, an online trunk show is always going to be better than zero trunk show because it's still, it's still, getting your business out there in front of people. I mean, if there's ever an opportunity that you can go to these people in person, that is always like an amazing way to grow and to really like show your hostess how it works and be like, there's nobody here. Like this could be you. And if she's really not interested, to be able to have all those conversations with the guests too of like, someone should be the stylist here because I don't live here. and this stuff's really cute and I can't come here all the time. So this could be you. But I think to be able to do an online show is better than nothing. And that's something that we can talk about more. I'm definitely not the like, all authority on online trunk shows. I definitely prefer the in-person gig and find it so much more effective and just easier to connect with people. But I can connect you with some resources too.
Okay.
But we can talk about that more.
Cool. Thank you.
All right, Catherine, any questions?
No, I think I'm good right now. So lots of good information. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. All right, well, let's hop off of here and jump on to the other link. I posted it in our team page so we can jump on there, and I'm sure that's going to be really helpful too. I'm actually excited to hear what's on that and just get a good refresher on things. All right, see y'all.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for hopping on.
Right.